Hello and welcome to another Retro and React. We've got big news in the tech space industry.
Yeah, this episode we want to talk about both some Anthropic drama that happened about a week ago, and also some Tailwind drama. So we're covering both our bases. We're covering AI, and we're covering front end development, which is like kind of where Bike Shed lives most of the time. Scott, where should we start?
I think we're going to start with the Anthropic drama.
Yeah. For those that aren't terminally online, like Scott and I are, um, about a week ago or so, Anthropic basically put the kibosh on open source or third party agent harnesses. So those are tools like Claude Code, like OpenCode, like Clawdbot, like Pi. The list goes on and on and on. There's probably 20 more being made as we're recording this episode. But Anthropic basically said you should stop or you can't use those tools if you're using one of the Claude subscriptions, so the Pro or the Max subscriptions. Um, Previously, these tools were kind of doing some shady things to let users leverage those subscriptions and use them. We were talking just before the episode, but like one example was I think I've seen a few snippets in some code bases that has like a prefix prompt that these harnesses would send to Anthropic models and say like, you are Claude Code, like you're a great coding tool. And that was like basically kind of the check that maybe the backend was doing for Anthropic to determine if this is actually coming from Claude Code or not. I think they were also like spoofing. You can think of it kind of like maybe the user agent or some headers on the requests to try to make it look like the user was using Claude Code, but they were actually using something like OpenCode. Um, so anyway, Anthropic basically said, nope, that's no longer happening. If you want to use those open harnesses, then you need to pay for the sort of the API billing, which is like kind of per token billing instead of using the monthly subscriptions that Anthropic offers.
That totally covers it. I just want to break it down even further. So it sounds like, for the most part, Anthropic has a suite of tools. They want you to, when you pay for Pro or Max accounts, you use those suite of tools. And it sounds like OpenCode in this example was essentially, I guess, reverse engineering, but hitting the API and kind of saying that it was, I'm Claude Code with headers, and also prompting it with that it's Claude Code, and basically just using the API directly. And it seems like Anthropic is trying to basically put their foot down and say, no, you use our suite of tools. Something we had talked about, Matt and I, is when we worked together at an AI startup, it was really important that you get users sticky into your suite of tools. So you start creating multiple tools that get your product, multiple tools for users to get into your ecosystem and try to get them stuck in your ecosystem. This is a classic way to get people using your products and get them ingrained with your products, so you have these customers for a long period of time.
Yeah, and I think honestly with Opus 4.5, it's maybe not the case, but models prior to that, there wasn't that much stickiness. So I think this is kind of like what you're getting at, Scott, where it's like just using, for example, Sonnet or Haiku from Anthropic. It's like, okay, they're pretty good, but like someone could easily switch to maybe GPT 5.2 or something and get maybe equal or better results. And so from that like sort of perspective, Anthropic I think wants to, or maybe sees and realizes that they can't compete just on the model. The model itself is not the thing that their customers care about. It's the sort of the integrations and the tooling and the capabilities that Anthropic can offer on top of it. Things like deep integration in terms of like the model being the best at calling tools, for example. Like that's not just the model; it's like also all the other stuff they do on top of it. Um, and so I think that's the thing that they're trying to like accentuate is that their suite of software on top of their offering is what they see the value prop as, and so that's what they're trying to like maybe like get people more in line with is like, yes, if you're paying these subscriptions, you should be using our software to get the best value out of it. I think also like I I don't I don't know if this is actually hard data or not, like, or like if I don't know where I've seen this, but I have a sense that Anthropic is losing money on these subscriptions, and maybe making their money more so on things like enterprise contracts, which use API billing, I believe, under the hood instead of these subscriptions. Um, I think it's just like the subscriptions allow you to get far more tokens out for what you pay than if you were to doing the equivalent on their API billing setup. And so, from that lens, of course, they might be losing money on some really, people that are really like pushing their limits to the max.
Basically, the big thing is they're recognizing that the product is not the model itself, and both OpenAI and Anthropic have been kind of really pushing down this path now, where I think it's OpenAI is working on a browser, and Anthropic now has a Chrome extension. I haven't integrated that, but they have more products like the Claude app. So they're really trying to build out a suite of tools, like you're saying. But this also, it kind of reminds me a little bit of when we would talk about like what is the future of models. Is it like there's a lot of little models that do one thing really well, or are they orchestrated into one big model? I don't understand how Opus is created. I haven't looked into that or any of the GPT models. I would suspect that maybe they take some of the best parts of smaller models and somehow route them into a larger one. But it is just interesting. I think we're seeing how these AI companies are trying to build out their product in real time, and react to how they can best position themselves to be on top.
Yeah, in terms of like the model architecture, I don't think Anthropic is doing sort of mixture of agents or mixture of models or anything like that yet. But it is interesting. I feel like maybe every couple of days, someone's like, "Dude, like Claude just dropped off. Like the quality that I'm getting back from my Claude sessions is like terrible now. They must have pushed some sort of hot fix in the background or whatever that changed it." And every time I see someone tweet this, like I don't know, I think it's like the team lead of Claude Code at Anthropic or something responds saying, "Actually, we haven't changed anything, but share your feedback. Like we want to figure out like what's causing it." Um, so it's like, I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe they're pushing things in the background and maybe they're not trying to say that, or maybe they're not actually, and it's just like people being sort of delusioned by, maybe Opus had like a really good result on one problem, and then they changed their prompt slightly and has like a really poor result, and it's like sort of, problem exists between the keyboard and the chair kind of issue. I don't know, but yeah, I think that sort of covers it, the Anthropic, juicy news, the drama. I think what an interesting aspect of this is like OpenCode. I think even prior to this, so OpenCode, for those who don't know, is like a very popular open source harness, a lot like Claude Code, but it's fully open source. It's built on Bun, and they support a lot of different model providers. They also offer some free model usage here and there. I'm not sure how they do that or who they partner with to do that. But anyway, it's been sort of teased for a while now that they were going to offer this thing called OpenCode Black, which is like their own subscription service. I don't know who's backing their inference. Like, as far as I know, they don't run their own inference. So I'd be curious to see more details there. But I think they started to open up the wait list for that. So if people are looking to move off of Claude Code or move off their Claude subscription, like that might be the place to go to. I think they have a lot of good sort of good positive energy in the ecosystem at the moment. Let's dig into Tailwind a little bit. So I think, Scott, you probably have the best perspective of this. I think maybe I stumbled across the thread and shared it your way, but then you were doing maybe more digging into it. So I'm curious to for those that aren't aware, like give us maybe a brief background on like what this is. What is this drama? What's happening now?
You're way too kind, Matt. It's probably be 7 or 9 days ago now. Matt sent me a GitHub thread that was kind of going viral on Twitter. But essentially, someone wanted to add, and I didn't rehash this, but basically, someone wanted to add a feature that was AI related. I think it would allow them to see all of their tokens or let the AI know exactly like what they wanted the Tailwind output to be for something. And Adam, is it Waltham?
I
Well,
think so.
Adam I apologize if I mispronounce his last name, but Adam of Tailwind. I think he's a co-creator of Tailwind, works there. He had a pretty strong um, response about not adding it in at the time, which that PR creator was like a little bit taken back, but he eventually went on to explain that, hey, we Tailwind laid off 75% of the company about 7 to 9 days ago, and the way they saw it is because of AI, their traffic website was down about 40%. And their overall revenue they saw was down about 80%. And their model as an open source software is to drive traffic to their website, their doc site, to get people interested in their product, and then to reach out about their product to make their money. That's how their open source software gets funded, essentially, which I'm sorry, it's just crazy to me that maybe I'm a Tailwind stan. I'm a shill for Tailwind. I think it's probably the best CSS solution out there. It's hands down and clearly got a blog post about it. The approach you should take in a modern architecture. There's few reasons. If you're building something small, you don't need the overhead, I guess. There's almost no reason if you're using Next.js or one of these things that bundles with it, Waku. But essentially, it's crazy for me to see such a popular, it's the most popular CSS solution on the web right now, have this problem. Basically can't get funding. I mean, there's maybe a better way for it to get funded. People were already talking about how it could essentially get bought and they should be looking to get acquired. I'm sure the folks there have been looking to get acquired, and that's not something that they haven't thought about. But I was also reading down some Reddit threads, and they were saying it's unclear, but there's definitely less than 50 people at working on Tailwind. Their LinkedIn apparently said 2 to 10 people, but some folks were saying there were literally 4 engineers on it. So it might have just been 3 engineers are now gone, and there's just a single engineer working on it, which is really sad. The best open sourced CSS front end solution on the web might have 1 engineer working on it. Got to show Tailwind some love. Got to say it's like crazy how many things have migrated to it, and like this is the situation. It's unfortunate. It shows that the open source software model is a difficult model to make money on, but also this is one that really wanted to prove usability and gain traction with folks, and they definitely have done that. But they don't have any gated features that I know of that will stop you from getting more out of them or having a reason to partner with them other than being like a big fan, really believing in the product and wanting to help it grow.
As you were kind of saying or sort of alluding to, is like one of the other things that they make money from. So I think primarily they have 2 revenue streams, as I understand it. One is through sponsorship, and like, you know, that you go to GitHub or I don't know, whatever service they're partnering with, and you can say, oh, my company uses this, and so I want to give you some money to support it. But the other revenue stream I think they still offer is sort of a paid bundle of custom components or pre-made components that are using Tailwind. I don't know. Was it Tailwind Labs? Was it? I don't know. I think they offered like sort of a suite of components and like sort of different pre-made templates and whatnot. I'm blanking on the name.
Tailwind Plus, maybe.
Yeah, so, yeah, something like that. And so I think that was what they're also hoping to drive traffic towards, in terms of like, you go to the Tailwind doc site and you see this big banner saying, "Oh, like, are you trying to build this component? Like, actually, like, we have one pre-made for you, and you can buy it here." I think really this is like, again, not to make this whole episode about AI, but like the cost of code is extremely low now, right? Like someone can, like an agent can easily write the component that you're talking about, and you give it a screenshot, or you could say like, I want to design something that looks like this, that's over here on this other website. Like, just do it. And it could do that now. So like offering a bundle of pre-made components is not that competitive anymore, right? Like 10 years ago, yes, right? 100% in the sense of like, it took a lot of effort to try to write really good, high quality components, accessible components, things like that. But obviously, ShadCN has like really eaten up the market there. But then just generally, like these agents are really good at generating those, writing components. And so I think that's just like it's hard for them to compete on that front anymore.
Yeah, really well put. I would like to say, I'm in agreement with you. I don't. There's little. I don't want to say there's little value. The problem, if you're going to make UI nowadays and you want some value from it, the only way you can is to use bleeding edge technology that might not be available in all browsers, that all the AI models might not know about yet, or it is so intricate and maybe use case specific. Like if you prompt AI to build you the perfect button or modal or component, first it probably skips accessibility. Then you have to prompt it to do that. That's not too much more effort, right? But my point is, there are maybe very niche use cases where you can get the perfect thing. But there are things also like ShadCN out there that might just give you that, and you have to like configure it a little bit. So there is like there are some pros to still building some things. There are some pieces that you can still add to it. I remember there was a big fad about 6-8 months ago where it's like, AI can't do 3D things yet. Like if you write your CSS in 3D, like make 3D buttons, AI can't handle it. Yeah, but most websites don't have 3D buttons, right? Like it's cool. It's a good point. But my point being here, there are like these niche cases where AI might not be able to do it right off the bat. You could maybe prompt it, might be more effort, but for 95% of the majority, AI is going to cover it, or ShadCN's got you covered, or there's something out there. So you really have to find a niche to make what you're building more valuable.
Yeah, I think, and yeah, like Tailwind certainly, or like their component offering certainly wasn't competing in that niche. It was just, as I understand it. Again, I've never paid for it, so I've only like sort of perused their offerings online, or what they sort of market as available for sale. But it's sort of run of the mill setup and components, and like obviously also some like pre-made templates in terms of like landing pages and dashboards and things like that. But certainly it's stuff that you could sort of ask Claude to do in the background for 30 minutes, and then you have your dashboard built out, for example. I'm not trying to say that what happened to Tailwind is good. Obviously it sucks that people are getting laid off, but I think it's just like pointing that I think it's just like a really hard thing to do, is try to monetize an open source product. It's very difficult to do that. Either you start to split and bifurcate like what you're offering, and you offer a free open source thing, and then you offer a paid thing, and obviously that's what they were doing already. But I think they also are just like sort of, so they're both like competing in a very difficult market in terms of offering a paid, like sort of paid but also free and open source thing, but then also competing where these models and these agents are really really good at being able to replicate what they're offering for sale. It's like someone came into the market and said, actually, the thing that everyone else was selling at that market is now basically, cents on the dollar to buy. And so obviously everyone's going to flee all the other stalls and go to this new vendor. That's maybe a terrible metaphor, but I don't know. It's just like they're in a stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I just want to piggyback on like calling out the Tailwind design system. Maybe it wasn't promoted even enough because we weren't 100% sure of the name, but it probably had great Tailwind integration. But unfortunately, like that's not a differentiator when ShadCN like it also does, right? And like you said, you could just prompt Claude to do that work for you. And like basically, what Tailwind gives you out of the box is like, all right, build me, like customize me really simply. So they almost are like so good. I don't want to say that they shot themselves in the foot, but it's so sad to see something that is such a good open source solution struggle to make money when it basically is like it's almost like too good that I don't want to say it's caused its own collapse. Like it's so good, everyone uses it. They're just gonna have AI solve the problem, and then the folks building it are in a tough place. It's just hard to see that. It's a victim of its own success, I think is what the words I'm looking for. Awesome.
Great. Yeah, I think that covers the news that we have for today. Curious to hear, for other folks' thoughts on these topics, and let us know if there's something that's brewing and that we maybe haven't caught on yet, and we should cover in our future Retro and React episode. Any closing thoughts, Scott? Otherwise, we can wrap it up.
Keep coding.
Keep coding. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in this week. Remember to leave a review for the episode and the show on your favorite podcast network. We appreciate 12.5 stars out of 10. Those are the ones that really bring us joy when we see those come through. And if the system isn't letting you do 12.5 out of 10, just send bug reports to them and just keep trying. You've got to be determined to put in that review. Feel free to join the Bike Shed Community Discord server as well. It's getting a little bit more lively. We're trying to bring some more activity and sort of fun things there. So definitely join it and tune in to see more there. You can see a link to join that from our website, bikeshedpod.com. And additionally, if you enjoyed this episode or other episodes, please share them with your friends or your enemies. Really, we just need and want more listeners to feed our egos. Great. Thanks everyone for tuning in. See you next week. Peace out.